So I told my wife that our marriage isn't the right fit for me anymore when she took sex off the table. Am I the a-hole? I, 38 male, have a high libido, and my wife, 36 female, has a low one. We've been in a dead bedroom for about 4 years now, and we have kids together. She recently told me she wants me to go to individual therapy to stop making her responsible for my sexual needs. I've tried my best to communicate over the years, but as soon as she said that phrase, I had a deep realization that I'd had it all wrong. Of course, I don't want to have sex that isn't fully consensual, but I think by constantly talking to her about it, asking for more effort in the bedroom, more initiative, and playfulness in our day-to-day interactions, I had made her feel responsible for my happiness. I'm still struggling to understand, because when I promised to forsake all others, I thought I was choosing to be in a relationship where my partner would proactively want to meet my relationship needs, not out of responsibility or duty, but because we were in tune with each other. I thought we shared the same values when it comes to intimacy and had the same desires, so that it wouldn't feel like a chore. The truth is, I still have those needs, and she doesn't, and that's okay. She's not wrong for being where she is. But it also means this relationship is no longer the right fit for me. I don't think I owe it to the marriage to keep depriving myself of something that makes me feel loved and alive. We are in couples therapy, and she proposed taking sex entirely off the table so we can focus our energies elsewhere while I wait for her to regain her sex drive, which she mentioned isn't a guarantee. She says she loves me and loves our partnership as best friends, parents, and romantic partners. But she says sex is off the table. After a few days of mulling it over, I told her that I thank her for being honest with me. I said, "You're not responsible for my needs, but I owe it to myself to be in a relationship where those needs are met. And if that's not possible with you anymore, then this marriage just isn't the right fit for me." I also told her I'm grateful for her honesty about why sex is off the table, because it gives me time to plan the things out. We have a prenup, and we've both worked hard to build our wealth together. It's scary, and I know that separating might mean losing active access to my kids 50% of the time, but I'll be fine. The fault isn't hers, but it's also true that she's stopped being the person I can feel happy and fulfilled with. She has taken this extremely badly. She's made all sorts of assumptions about me and demands an answer as to why I wasn't curious about her thought process behind what she wants us to do. She said I blindsided her, but honestly, I'm not angry with her anymore. She takes issue with the language I used, but I don't see how. She said she doesn't want the blame or responsibility for my relationship needs not being met. And I thought, isn't that exactly what I was doing? I took responsibility for my choices, and sadly, that included choosing her. She's been acting defensive and angry, even when we're discussing the kids rather than our relationship. Part of me thinks she isn't as mature as she makes herself sound. Now for the top comments. She says sex is off the table. Isn't that the entire reason you two are having issues per your characterization? How would removing sex from a sexless marriage even work? Or are you just not supposed to talk about sex? How can you do that since the entire reason you are in counseling is lack of sex? Correct. She said she wanted to stop discussing it because every time it would trigger her guilt and shame. Sounds like entire reason for counseling is OP still wants sex. And so on the first time she said absolutely no sex indefinitely, stop asking until I say you can. So he says okay, divorce then. And she's mad. Like, I don't know how she didn't see that coming. Correct analysis. No therapy needed. All relationships are about compromise. But if one has an absolute position incompatible with another, then the relationship cannot work. You're the a-hole. You've done quite the job of rationalizing this, but everything you've written is wildly selfish and clearly communicates that when it comes to sex, the only thing that matters to you is that you get what you want when you want it. For some reason, you think your interest in frequent sex is a need that must be met, and your wife's need for less sex is an inconsequential whim that should be set aside to fulfill your interests. I don't disagree that you are incompatible. You should definitely divorce. But your way of thinking about this and talking about this is really gross, not to mention the way you talk about seeing your children far less. Her need for less sex is just as valid as my need for more, but those two needs can't coexist in the same relationship. I hope she's able to find someone who has the same sex drive as hers, and I can find someone who is also my right match. Edit. I see my post was cross-posted to the Angels subreddit. I saw a lot of comments wishing for my financial ruin, and lots of comments about child support. Honestly, if that's the only verbal weapon you've got to make someone feel small, I truly feel sorry for you. Not all divorces lead to financial ruin. For context, we are both business owners, through both sets of parents, so things are going to be fine since there's not going to be child support. If anything, it would be from her, if we truly go 50-50, because her business is slightly more profitable than mine. Next story. Am I the a-hole for sleeping with my soon-to-be ex-wife's friend? My wife cheated on me 2 months ago with a guy she met while we were still together and working on the relationship. Now, almost 2 months later, I texted a woman who has a kid in the same class as our kid. I met this woman for the first time in our home because my wife invited her and her kid over to play with our child. They got along decently from what I understood. This woman told my wife and me that she was single and had left the father. Now, mind you, this is all I knew about my wife's and her relationship. I did not know that they had been texting each other a bit since then. Fast forward, I texted this woman after 2 months of our breakup because why not? I thought she looked good and that we could probably just have a good time. After meeting her, we both developed feelings for each other, and while we tried to end it, we couldn't. The woman I met then proceeded to text my soon-to-be ex-wife to tell her that she had feelings for me and that she was sorry but couldn't really ignore them. All the while, my wife is spending every other week with the guy she cheated on me with and had already said she loved him just 2 to 3 weeks after we broke up. We haven't even sold our house yet, and she has already rented a place for herself and him. They're planning a new life together, introducing our kids to him, posting pictures on Facebook where he's holding my kids' hands, etc. Now she has the balls to say that I'm the a-hole? Here's what I'm thinking. Your ex-wife is hoping that the Chad she threw your marriage in the garbage for sticks around. You know, so she doesn't look like a freaking idiot? Something tells me, though, that she isn't all that confident in Chad's commitment to her, so she expected you to wait around like a chump in case she messed up. Enjoy your life, brother, and enjoy the new girlfriend. And don't feel bad for laughing at the self-sabotaging moron, not the a-hole. Exactly this. She's just pissed you aren't sitting by the door hoping she comes home, and she now realizes her safety net is gone. Why is this woman reaching out to your soon-to-be ex and discussing what's happening between the two of you? What exactly was the goal? Not sure about the goal. She was feeling guilty for having a friendly relationship with my soon-to-be ex-wife and a romantic relationship with her friend's ex-husband. I get where she was coming from, but she should have spoken to you about her concerns and given you the opportunity to tell your ex first if you wanted to. She caused a lot of unnecessary drama, and not giving you the courtesy of a conversation first is very strange, kind of an orange flag. As a woman who is also going through a divorce, she should understand better than most why that was immature and unnecessary. It would be different if your ex was like her best friend, but they're new acquaintances at most, and judging by her willingness to sleep with you, she must not care that much about being courteous or respectful to your ex-wife, lol. Also, you're absolutely not the a-hole. Your ex is high on the narcissistic scale. Be happy you're getting out of that marriage. I'm happy for you. Thank you very much for the kind words. We talked a bit about it before she talked to her, and I asked her if she wanted me to break the news to my soon-to-be ex-wife, but she felt it was better if it came from her, which I honestly had no problem with. In my view, my soon-to-be ex-wife has no say in who I meet or sleep with, so I really didn't care about telling her. Edit/mini update. As the situation stands now, she has threatened to contact the court to basically force sell the house to the lowest bidder. This could mean our entire 10-year housing career will be lost, and any hopes of putting any of the money from the sale of the house into savings for the kids will be gone. I haven't received any calls or letters about it yet, so we'll see. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not reminding my husband it was my birthday? I feel so pathetic. So, my 45 female birthday was last Wednesday. I've been with my husband, 56 male, for 7 years. I like to make birthdays special for my family. For example, I decorate my son's room while he's sleeping so he can wake up feeling celebrated and loved. I'm cheesy, I know, LOL. For my husband, I put out his gifts and cards so he can see them when he wakes up, and I'll make whatever he wants to eat for supper. Or we go out if he prefers. It's his choice. And whatever else he wants to do for his birthday. My husband has always gotten me something for my birthday, with cake and a card. It's great. But this year, no birthday wishes in the morning, no mention, nothing. Around supper time, we were chatting after work, asking about each other's day, and I asked him if he knew what day it was. He realized and said that he completely forgot it was my birthday, then came to give me a hug and said he'd get me a gift. I said that was okay, but I was hurt that he didn't think of me. He completely shut down and went to lie down. I went out for a walk because I was crying, and I didn't want my son to see me cry. I walked, crying in the rain, like an idiot. A sad, stupid idiot. My husband has been in a pissy mood since. I haven't mentioned my birthday following his shutdown. I just kept going with the week and taking care of our family. He has barely spoken to me. This morning, I went on an errand before work. I work from home and brought him back his favorite candy bar, because I always do when I bring back snacks. When he saw it this morning on the table, he asked if it was for him. I said yes, and he threw it in the garbage before leaving for work. When he came back from work, he said that I destroyed him by telling him that I was hurt he forgot my birthday. He said that he apologized, the hug, and when I told him that it hurt me that he didn't think of it, that destroyed him. To be clear, I never yelled or brought it up again in the following days. I just said that one sentence about it hurting my feelings, and that apparently makes me a horrible partner. He said I should have reminded him, given him a heads up. I know when his birthday is. I don't need a reminder. So my brain kind of froze when he said that. I order his gifts in advance when I find things he's going to love. Anyway, am I the a-hole for not telling him my birthday was coming up? If it destroyed him so much, why did he ruin it even further by acting like a complete a-hole for the next week? Incredibly manipulative behavior, making his screw up your fault and punishing you for being hurt over it. Not the a-hole. Police. If forgetting really destroyed him, he wouldn't double down by sulking, stonewalling, and literally tossing gifts in the trash LOL. Not the a-hole. It is classic Darvo and emotional manipulation. I bet he rarely if ever admits when he's wrong, let alone apologizes with words. Not the a-hole. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess this isn't the first time he's reacted like this. Maybe not about your birthday, but how does he generally handle you sharing your feelings or bringing up issues? I don't bring up times when he has hurt my feelings anymore. When he's in a good mood, he can be really sweet and seems understanding. He will say that I deserve better. But when he's upset, he'll get mean with his words. Last story. Am I the a-hole for taking my house key back from my boyfriend? My boyfriend, 24 male, and I, 26 female, have been fighting about this for the last few days. I live on my own and do not get any kind of help from my family, while he lives in an apartment purchased by his grandparents. He pays rent, about $800 a month, which is on the lower end for my city. Until a couple of months ago, he told me that he co-owned this place with his grandparents. But it turns out he is not on the deed and had been lying to me out of embarrassment. We had a big fight about it, but made up. We've been seeing each other for about 8 months. A few months ago, I gave him a spare key to my place as a token of goodwill since we were spending almost every day together. He uses this key regularly, and when I gave it to him, he said he'd be getting a spare key made for his place and give one to me. Cut to months later, and he still hasn't gotten me a spare key. At first, it was an issue with the property manager, that it was too expensive to get. It costs $50, by the way, to have it made, but I suggested just going to Home Depot, which he refused. Now he says he has to get permission from his grandparents, who are hesitant to let me have a key. I have met them multiple times, but they don't like me because he babysat my cats at his place, and they scratched up an old carpet, which I have offered to pay for and replace. I'm exhausted. I hate nagging him to get this done. And if it was an impossible task for understandable reasons, like the homeowners not wanting me to have a key, I feel like that should have been communicated when I gave him mine. I've been telling him for months that if I don't have a key to his place, I don't feel comfortable with him having a key to mine. It feels unequal. He says I'm being unreasonable by wanting to take my key back and acting on emotion, that it's easier to just have keys to one another's places. That's my point, it is. Am I the a-hole for taking my key back since he can't seem to give me a key to his place? This all feels so juvenile to me. I haven't needed to ask for permission from a family member to do anything since I was 17, but I did grow up very independent, so maybe my viewpoint is skewed. The issue isn't that you don't have a key, it's the fact that he's lied to you and keeps avoiding having the discussion as to why he won't give you a key. He lied to you for months about his financial standing and whether or not he owned the place. He doesn't own it, and he will probably never own it. He said he would get you a key, but now keeps giving excuses because he has no ownership and cannot give you a copy. There are more issues in this relationship than a key. Just change your locks and find a guy that's on the same page as you. He's not even mature enough to have an open, honest conversation. I read a post OP made 5 months ago about this guy being jealous of her success at work. This was before she was aware that he had lied about the ownership of his apartment. It seems he's not very motivated or successful in paid employment either, while OP has pulled herself up by her own bootstraps. I had a boyfriend like this. He lived at home with his mother, didn't pay her for any living expenses, and was openly jealous and insecure about how capable I was. I'd been independent since age 16, was studying and in paid employment, and renting my own little flat. He pitied himself because his father had died when he was 8, and his mother apparently treated him horribly. He exclaimed what a great cook I was, and how he'd love to learn to cook like me. I felt sorry for him, let him move into my place, gave him contacts for paid employment. I thought he'd take the opportunity to pull himself up by the bootstraps like I had, but as soon as he moved in, he changed completely. It turned out he'd only planned to pay me a token amount toward household expenses, as he figured I'd be paying those bills anyway if I lived by myself. He did no housework or cooking, and the illusion of us being a partnership evaporated. He was very insistent on going to the social events and amazing fieldwork opportunities I got, but when he got similar opportunities, he made sure to exclude me. Best case scenario, OP's boyfriend is spoiled, selfish, and a bit devious. Worst case scenario, he's deliberately setting her up to coddle and support him the way his grandparents and parents have, so he'll never really have to lift a finger for himself.